Hello, everyone. I was rushing back. I was turning my steak over. That's for dinner tonight. I have a big old steak on the stove. How's everyone doing? Disabled and Prepping, Colorado Pack Rat Prepper. Am I getting a number one? Am I good? Am I coming in loud and clear? Let me go ahead and take this off of here. What is this here? Boom, boom. There we go. All right. Okay, I'm coming in one. How you doing, Baby Root? Good to see you. Italian Eddie, how you doing? Good to see you. How's everyone doing tonight? I don't even remember what the title of this live stream is. I know it has something to do with silver because I was watching the silver market and it is going crazy. What's happening in the gold and silver market? And if you took a look at the thumbnail of that live stream, you know, the thumbnail of today's live stream, you can see that back in 1989, when I graduated high school, all right, how many of you graduated high school in 1989? Are we in the same cohort? You could buy 3 Big Macs with 1 ounce of silver. And today, you can buy almost 20 Big Macs with 1 ounce of silver. Now, what does that say about the Big Mac? It says that the Big Mac, not only are they making it cheaper, but that it takes a lot more fiat to buy those Big Macs today, because it takes an awful lot more fiat to buy that same ounce of silver today. So not only is the Big Mac cheaper, but the fiat is a lot less more valued as well. So let's see, who else do we have here? Captain 3, how you doing, Captain? Stormy is here. And by the way, today's video that I put out earlier this morning, ladies and gentlemen, get in on it. There is a giveaway on that video, so go check it out. It's my way of saying thanks to you for supporting what I do. And I still have a bunch of silver that I need to give away, so we're going to do that. And of course, I'm saving some for when silver hits over 100. Let's take a look and see what silver and gold are doing right now, because I know that silver and gold both hit all-time highs not too long ago. Let's see. What does the Kentucky Cowboy say? SD Bullion highlights a massive record-setting silver shortage with cumulative deficits since 2019 exceeding, yes, 1.3 billion. Yes, we've been in a physical silver deficit for about the last 5-6 years now. And that sounds about right, about 1.3 billion ounces, which is more than 1.5 times the annual production of silver that's mined in the entire world. So silver is running out, not necessarily in its physical form, but in its useful form, because all of the silver that we've ever mined on Earth, with the exception of satellites and things that we sent out into space, right? Because those things definitely had silver in them and have silver in them. So that's not that big of an amount. But all of the silver that we've ever mined on Earth is still here on Earth. All of the silver that we've ever mined is still above ground, but how much of it is usable? That is the physical silver we're talking about. If you were to look at the market cap of silver, it's probably around $5 trillion. But in my opinion, that market cap is not really correct unless the silver price were a lot higher, because that market cap takes into consideration all of the above ground silver, even that silver that we can't use because we either don't have the technology or because it costs way too much in order to recycle the silver from things like landfills and things like electronics. So there's a certain number of dollars that it takes for a company or for someone to be willing to go out there and actually recycle that silver. And right now, it's well above what the spot price is today. So do you all want to take a look and see what silver is doing? Let's see. And if, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions or comments, put them all in caps, okay? So hopefully I can catch it. But let's take a look and see what we're looking at as far as the price of silver and gold. So right now we are trading, and this is the futures. We're trading at about $92.89. But we did hit an all-time high, ladies and gentlemen, of above $94 today. So we have a new all-time high of about $94.05 roughly. And just a second, you probably couldn't hear me because I made the same. I got too excited over the silver price. So I was saying that today we hit an all-time high on silver so far in the after hours trading or the non-hours trading of $94 and roughly 10 cents. And right now we're trading at just shy of $93. I think that last Friday was a historic Friday for silver because it's the first time that it's ever closed out the week above $90. And that is extremely bullish. And as you can see here, we came back down from the all-time highs of 94. We're trading right now at about 92.76 or so. I'm curious to see what gold is trading at. Let's see what gold's action looks like. And look at that. Gold is up there. Gold, look at that. Gold hit an all-time high today of almost $4,700 at $4,692. So, ladies and gentlemen, get yourselves mentally prepared. All right. I don't like to say that things are only going to go straight up. The fundamentals say that gold and silver are just getting started. All right. They are just getting started. This is going to be a multi-year bull market. I actually don't even think that gold and silver are in a bull market right now. Well, maybe gold is, but silver hasn't even started its next cycle. I believe that the real bull market is going to begin after it breaks 98 or 100, specifically 98, but that $100 mark is a very big psychological barrier that people have to get over. How you doing, Disney Up Boiler Up? Good to see you. Let's see. L Count says, will the government put a high tax on silver if you try to cash it in? I guess the government can do whatever it wants to do. All right. The government can pass any laws it wants to pass. They can do whatever they want to do. However, that's why there is a black market. And you notice how they named it a black market to make it sound like it's a bad thing. A black market, ladies and gentlemen, is the free market. It's a market where governments don't interfere with you trading back and forth with your wealth, which you usually accumulate with your time, your skills, your labor, right? That's the real free market right there. So you'll notice that in countries where the export of silver has been stopped, like let's say, for example, in Venezuela, at one time, you couldn't leave the country with gold and silver. Right. But what did the people do? They found ways to get around that. They found ways to be able to leave, to go over to Colombia and cash in their gold and silver and be able to buy real food over there and bring it back in. There's always a way. People will always find a way, especially when there is a war that is being fought between good and evil. Let's see. Yes, I saw that APMEX had a minimum of $500. I'm not sure if it's still doing that right now. But yeah, this all signifies a shortage in physical. That's all that this signifies. And I'm sure that you all know by now that the mint, the U.S. Mint, went ahead and raised their prices on their numismatic coins by sometimes almost twice as much on some of them. So everything that we're seeing in the silver and the gold market signifies that there is a shortage in physical, more so silver than gold. And for those of you that don't know, why is this so important to go ahead and stack a little bit of this? First reason I would say is because, in my opinion, silver is a lot more precious than gold. Most of the gold that's ever been mined is still above ground, but it's in usable form. It's sitting in bank vaults. It's sitting, buried somewhere in the backyard. It's sitting in safes at home somewhere in a corner. It's still available, but most of the silver, about 96% of all of the silver that's ever been mined in the history of humanity is no longer in a usable form, meaning in a physical form that can be used in order to produce the things that we depend on a daily basis. So that's the big deal. That's number one. Number two is, if you saw the thumbnail of this video, you can see how many more Big Macs you can get today at a higher price than what it was back in 1989 with the same 1 ounce silver coin, right? You can see that we could buy 9, almost 10 times as many Big Macs today than we could just back in 1989 with the same silver coin. What does that say? That says a lot. Maybe it says a lot about the Big Macs because they're a lot cheaper now and a lot, not as good as they were back then, right? When you take a Big Mac or a cheeseburger and the pickle is about as thick as the meat is. But what that says a lot about is that the dollar has lost a lot of purchasing power. Now, had you purchased a 1 ounce silver coin back in 1989, you would have retained, if not added, more value to that silver coin. Let me put it right. That silver coin would have retained, if not added, more value to your purchasing power had you kept it that long. Heck, had you purchased a silver coin back in 2021 or so, it would have definitely retained your purchasing power, but it would have added value as well, meaning that you can buy more today. Today, you can buy more stuff with the value in this silver coin than what you could 5 years ago because it's gone up in price that much. And some may ask, well, why has it gone up in price that much? Well, because the government, unfortunately, has the levers to that printing press, and they cannot stop pulling that lever, ladies and gentlemen. They cannot stop pulling it because the day they stop pulling it, the day they stop creating fiat currency out of thin air, being that we are governed by a debt-based monetary system, is the day that the system collapses. Now, do I think that our system is going to collapse? I think it's going to change. I think that the definition of a dollar will be different in the next year, 2, 3, definitely by 2032 than what it is now. And what do I mean by that? The definition of the dollar is going to be different. It's that it's not going to buy you the same thing it buys you today. To me, the definition of a dollar, as per the Constitution, is 375 or 371.25 grains of silver. That's the definition of a dollar in the Constitution, or fine silver. All right. But the definition of a Federal Reserve note, it's not defined because it changes all of the time, because they can't keep their hands off that lever. They can't keep their hands off the interest rates. So the definition of the dollar changes every day, but I believe that in the next several years it's going to change dramatically, where we're not going to recognize it as we do today, just like we don't recognize a dollar's value today like they did back in 1971 or even 1913, where it had its full value. See, since 1913 or so, the value of a dollar against gold has been devalued probably about 99.9 something percent. And to put that in perspective, some of you may have heard me say this before, but to put that 99.9 something percent devalued against gold, think about this. Back in 1913, 2,000, let's see, yes, 2,000 pennies, ladies and gentlemen, 2,000 pennies, the ones that they don't make anymore because it costs more to make a penny than what a penny would buy. 2,000 pennies would buy you roughly 1 ounce of gold, right? About 0.98 something troy ounces. Today, it takes more than $4,000 to buy you that same ounce of gold. The gold never changed. It's the fiat currency that changed. And precisely, it takes you roughly in gold, it's going to take you roughly $4,700, not $4,000. Look at this, $4,665 is what it takes you to buy 1 ounce of gold today, we're back 112 years, 113 years ago, it took you 2,000 pennies. All right. So that's why it's important to put a little bit of your excess wealth. I'm not a financial advisor. I have to say that because I'm on the internet. All right. So that's why, in my opinion, it's important to put some of your excess wealth into something that is going to preserve for you the time, the labor, the skills that you spent years and sometimes decades building in order to gain that value. Right? That's a way that you can put that excess wealth away and know that it will not be stolen from you through the powers of inflation of the monetary supply. And that's the big deal about it. It's about being able to retain your sovereignty by not allowing an entity that you never voted for to take away your wealth. And what I mean by you never voted for is that I'm sure that no one here has ever voted for anyone to take away your wealth, but they do it all the time, every single day. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I am so adamant about this, because whenever I say that money is everything, right, people get up in a twirl about that. They're like, money is not everything. You know, the love of money is evil, or the root of all evil is the love of money, or love of money is the root of all evil. See, I figured I'd get it right sooner or later. But people think that that's what I mean. But no, the reason I say that money is everything is because it represents your labor. The way that you get money is by working for it, or at least that's how you're supposed to get money, is by working for it. So that money that you have, that you put in the bank, that represents the labor that you put forth, the investment that you put forth in learning the things that you had to learn in order to earn that money. That's what that represents. So money is everything, because what's the most important property that you own? It's yourself. So when you work for years and years and years, and you squirrel away fiat currency in the bank, and then you figure out that when you retire, that fiat currency can barely buy you a can of beans at the end of the month, because it just doesn't stretch that far. Where did all that labor go that you had to put forth in order to earn that currency? It was all stolen from you via a tax that is a silent tax, and that tax is called inflation. And these are the things that they will never teach this in schools, because they don't want the average person, the average working person, the layman, to know what I just told you. Because if everyone were to know that it's a big racket and that they're being stolen from every day, then there will be a revolution overnight, ladies and gentlemen. But people get on the internet, they get on Twitter, they get on YouTube, they get on whatever, and they complain about the price of bread, the price of eggs, the price of meat, but they never ask why. Why is it that the price of everything has doubled pretty much in the last 5 to 6 years? They think that it's because of inflation, but it's not. It's because it's a symptom of inflation, right? Inflation is the increase of the money supply, but the symptom of inflation is when prices go up. Because if a government produces so much money that the services and the goods that are being produced simultaneously can't keep up with the amount of money that's being produced and put into the economy, then things are going to cost more on a nominal basis. So teach this to your children. They will definitely have a leg up on the rest of their friends that are playing video games. Let's see, Elvo, how you doing? I stopped at $59 an ounce. Nothing wrong with that. If what you have is what you need and what you feel comfortable with, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Let's see. Hey, Alphonse, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. Thank you for being here today. For those of you that maybe didn't hear me because you just came in, make sure you check out my video from earlier today, because there is a giveaway on that video, ladies and gentlemen. And I am saving some silver to give away for that magical day or historical day when silver finally pushes through $100 on the spot price. Because in all reality, an ounce of silver today, or a troy ounce of silver today, it's already over $100. If you go to any of these internet websites that sell silver, like AppMex or like SD Bullion, etc., you'll see that you can't buy an ounce of silver for less than a $100 bill. So it's over 100 right now, but once it hits over 100 on the futures or on the spot price, we're definitely going to jump on here and celebrate by giving some away. Let's see. If you all have anything you want to share with the community, put it in all caps, ladies and gentlemen. That way I don't miss a good question or a good comment, okay? What is your opinion trading gold for silver at the current price? Well, someone actually emailed me that question, and I answered it this morning. And this is my opinion, and this is what I would do. I missed a huge opportunity earlier this year, sometime around May or so, late April, May, where I wanted to take some gold and trade it for silver because the silver to gold ratio was at 106. Had I done that and then taken my silver back in, let's say right now or a week ago, I could have gone ahead and traded in whatever silver I needed for all of my gold that I spent, and then still had about 50% of that silver left, meaning making a 100% profit on that transaction. But everything happens for a reason. But right now, let's take a look at the silver to gold ratio then, since you had that great question there. All right, so the silver to gold ratio, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty much broken. That chart is broken. So if we look at it right now, it's at 50%. So 50 to 1, 50.4 ounces of silver will buy you 1 ounce of gold. And the reason I say that this chart is broken, let me show you real quick, is because look at it. Look at it. I mean, it's well under the 200-day. This is the 200-day moving average. It's nowhere near it. And in the last, let's see, where are we right now? Since November 25th, so almost 2 months, in the last 7 weeks or so, it's only had 3 days where it was in the green. This chart, in my opinion, is broken. And what this looks like it's been building, if you take a look at it like this, it's been doing like bear flags. You see, it's like an angled bear flag. A flagpole sideways, and now it's building another flagpole, getting ready to go sideways again and go back down. It's going to take a huge move in order to turn that around as far as gold and silver goes. So let's take a look real quick. Oh, look at that. Silver is above the 93. It is above the 93 right now. So right now it's trading at 93.09 roughly. And for those of you that just got here, it did hit an all-time high of a little bit over 94. Now, if you all remember, this was a while back. I was saying that silver, I'm projecting it to get to about 98, between 95 and 98 before we go sideways for a little bit. And then it's going to, well, more likely 100, right? Because that $100 mark is a big psychological barrier. So it'll probably, go the rest of the way and go over 100 before it takes a rest. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to be mentally prepared for when that day comes that silver takes a dump, because it will. And that's a very bullish thing. Be mentally prepared that the world is not over. And the reason I say that is because everyone is going to be telling you, it's over, it's over, the world is over, it's going back down to $20 or to $40 or something. It may go back down, it may retrace all the way back down to, I don't know, I think I've got it at like 62 or something like that, but it could retrace all the way back down to the 200-day moving average. And now let's take a look and see what the 200-day moving average is. It's pretty down there. So the 200-day moving average is all the way down here, all the way in the high 40s. So that is a possibility. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't think that is going to retrace all the way back down there. However, if it does, it will be a gift from the good Lord above for those people that maybe didn't have the opportunity or didn't have the knowledge to stack up on a little bit of silver to go and buy a little bit and put it away. So that's how I would see that, because there's no way with the fundamentals that the precious metals market is showing, as far as silver goes especially, but even gold and platinum and palladium, with the fundamentals behind it, the technicals, in my opinion, come in second place. Yeah, the technicals are very nice to make a profit, a short-term profit here or there, but the fundamentals say that silver especially and gold has only one way to go, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, up. Maybe sideways at some times, or maybe lower at some times, but the trend is going to be upward. So let's see. Any questions or comments? Put it in all caps. That way I can catch it. How many of you have been stacking silver or gold or both for the last several years? Let's see. How many 5-year-old stackers do we have? How many of you have been stacking for at least the last 5 years? And then how many of you have been stacking for at least the last 10 years? That way we all know how rich you are. And this is usually the part of the market where people start to, seasoned traders or investors start to think about getting out of it because everyone is talking about it now. So it's pretty much mainstream right now. But I don't think that mainstream has really started buying. But when they do, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be crazy. I'm not sure what the government is going to do. More than likely, I think that they'll end up bailing out the banks. All right. And when they bail out the banks and create all of that extra money out of thin air, guess what that's going to do to the price of precious metals and everything else? It's going to continue to go up. We are toward the end of this monetary system. So as I was saying, there was a big comma in the last 15 minutes of me yapping. So I would not, I would not do it now, even though I believe that, the silver to gold ratio is going to continue to go down. It's just that from 50 to take that chance to go from 50 to 40, maybe if you wanted to, you can do it in trenches, right? So for example, let's say that I have X number of ounces of gold and I wanted to trade some in for silver. I wouldn't trade them all in. Maybe I would say, okay, I want to trade in 5 ounces of gold. I want to get 5 ounces of gold. And this is how much silver it's going to cost me to get that 5 ounces of gold. Maybe I would get 1 ounce of gold now, trade in 50 ounces of silver for an ounce of gold now. And then maybe, I would like dollar cost average or silver cost average on my way down as the silver to gold ratio goes down. I would have loved to have done it, 9-10 months ago. That would have been so much better. But we are getting towards the end game for silver and gold, ladies and gentlemen. What I mean about the end game is that the paper market and the physical market are starting to separate, and they're not going to be able to come back together again. Because whenever the Western types like the COMEX, the LBMA, the CME, whenever they try to bring that price down, all it does is it encourages two things. Number one, it encourages the East to buy more, right? So that they can bring it into their country. And it also encourages people that want to stack it to buy more physical. So I don't know how they're going to be able to keep that price down unless it is a worldwide coordinated effort. I can see that happening, but I think that the people that are holding silver now and have been holding silver, they already know what the game is, and there's no way that they're going to sell theirs for pieces of paper. Now, would I say that you should never sell your silver? Absolutely not. For example, if life happens and you need to sell some of your precious metals for A, B, or C, that's what it's for, ladies and gentlemen. That is what it's for. So that you can use it when you need to use it without having lost the purchasing power and the time from when you bought it to when you spend it, right? That's what it's for, is so that you can be fairly treated when it comes to your labor. Wow, really? Woody Dell says that it costs 14 cents to make a nickel. I guess the nickel is going out next then. The nickel is on its way out. All right, man, let me see. I think that's the longest that I've talked pretty straight for a long time. Let me go ahead and bring this down. How far behind am I? Oh, not that bad. Let me bring this down, say hello to a few of you while I'm scrolling down. Rania, how you doing? Let's see, Gary 51. Okay, let's see. Let's see, what does Roger have to say? Here comes the BRICS currency. We are going back to the gold standard. Be not deceived. Very likely, because whenever a reset of the monetary system, is usually worldwide as well, happens, we always go back to something that the people can actually trust. Or let me say this, I think I worded that wrong. you don't have to trust gold and silver. So we'll go back to something that's of sound money that you don't have to trust because its value never changes. You see, we have to trust the dollar. We have to trust fiat currency. I have to trust that I can take that $10 bill or $5 bill, whatever I have, and that it will buy me what I need because it bought me that same thing 5 years ago. Well, you all know that it can't do that now. I mean, I think that the dollar bill is like the new 25-cent piece. It's the new quarter, the dollar bill nowadays, because you can barely buy anything for $1 anymore or under $1, right? So, yeah. So when we change the monetary system, it will be tangible. Something tangible will be backing up whatever currency we are going to be using in the place of the dollar. Whether it be a digital currency, whether it be a different banknote, or whether it be the same banknotes that we use now, just with a different definition behind it. Let's see. Dimbu says, good day, folks. Silver, $154.97 in Australia. Current. Nice to have bought it at 30. That is outstanding. Congratulations to you, Dimbu. That's incredible. 154.97. I think that the U.S. is one of the few countries that it hasn't broken $100 USD yet. Let's see. No buffering. Okay, good. I'm coming in loud and clear today. It's not a terrible transmission like it was my last live stream. Let's see. I don't know what you mean by this. Will you continue your DCA? I don't know what that means. DCA? I probably heard it before. I just don't remember. Someone let me know what that means. North of the 52nd ask, AP, was there a keyword on the last video? I will never tell North of the 52nd. You have to pay your dues and watch it. And if you want to support what I do, let an ad run through for 30 seconds. It really helps the algorithm. Don't get me started, North of the 52nd. I don't know. This is kind of it's clean. Where do you get your chicken? I'm thinking that elk hound is maybe talking to someone else. Okay, question. Is the real silverware from parents' wedding gift worth anything of monetary value? If so, how would that work? Yes, it is. If it's silverware is usually 925. Sterling silver, 92.5% silver. And it absolutely has monetary value because silver is silver is silver. And anything that has silver in it is going to have monetary value just by the fact that it has silver in it. So yes, it does. And what I would do if I had silverware, stuff like that I wanted to go ahead and trade in for cash, or maybe for 999 silver coins or constitutional, whatever it may be, you can take it to a coin shop, you can take it to a pawn shop, you can take it to a jewelry shop, and I'm pretty sure that they'll be happy to buy it from you. Now, just understand that it'll be more than likely at a few percentage points back of spot price. Hey, stop telling all my secrets, Stormy. Stop telling everyone the secret. Now you're in trouble. Greetings from the Silver State. How you doing, Battleborn? All the way from the state of Nevada. Okay, let's bring it down some. Oh, I keep cutting out, huh? Oh, it's going to be another one of those days. I'll tell you what, sometimes it's a good day, sometimes it's terrible. I got a number 1 there. Maybe some people are getting a better feed than I am. Look at that. Colorado Pack Rat Prepper has been stacking for 6 years. It's never too late to start, Lafferty. Never too late to start. Man, I really wish I knew what DCA is. What does DCA stand for? It's probably something simple that I already know, but it's not clicking right now. Are you going to continue your monthly DCA? Don't know what that means. Another 6-year veteran here. Another 6-year silver veteran. since it was $14 an ounce. So man, that must have been back before. Well, I mean, it said $14 an ounce several times, depending on whether you go back before 2011 and then so yeah, I mean, you can go all the way back to before 1980 and it hit $14 an ounce. But the most recent $14 an ounce, I think it was around 18, 17, something like that. Maybe 19. Hey, there you go. Shard did it too. I had to sell my silver to survive the Obama years. Well, you know what? That's what it's for. That is what it's for, right? So I don't think anyone that's had to sell their silver. I know someone that had to sell some not too long ago, and I felt kind of bad because he says, yeah, unfortunately, I had to sell some of mine because I needed to pay some bills. I'm like, hey, that's what it's for. Yeah, maybe it's not the best of situations if you have to sell it, but that is what it's for. That is what it's there for. Right now, I wouldn't, but if you really want to sell your gold for silver, I would do it in trenches. Or sell gold for silver. Yeah, I would do it in trenches. I wouldn't just go all in. But the thing is, it's different for everyone. You see, my ideology behind having precious metals, right? Behind storing your wealth in precious metals. My ideology is that you build a base, right? So, for example, someone that I know, I was talking to him about precious metals. He doesn't own silver. He doesn't own gold. None. And he was like, so I started teaching him about silver and gold. He's like, yeah, gold is usually just sitting there. So I told him what gold is, why it's real money. And I told him the same thing about silver. By the end of our conversation, he says, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and buy some silver. Where should I buy it? So I talked to him about that. And he says, how much should I buy? And I'm like, well, my recommendation would be that you buy it that you dollar cost average. And he said, no. He says, this guy has a lot of money. All right. He said, no. I just want to buy it one time. I want to make a one-time purchase and never have to worry about it again. I said, how many kids do you have? And he said, 2. I said, buy 2 monster boxes. Buy 2 monster boxes, put them away. If nothing ever happens where you ever need that, you can leave your children one each and they don't have to fight over it after you leave this earth in physical form. I said, go ahead and buy 2. But what I say is have a base. Have a base, which is what you want to never have to use unless the SHTF, right? Unless the SHTF, you have to get into that silver or gold. Have a base, put it away, and your goal should be that you never have to use it, and then you can leave it to your children as an inheritance, right? And then also have some for some kind of an emergency, like I say, savings, in addition to your emergency savings account, like a backup savings that you can have. For the near term, right? In case something happens that's short term, you can dip into that and you don't have to worry about getting into your base. And then I would even say to have a third tier, all right, where if you want to go ahead and risk some of it by trading some silver for gold or trading some gold for silver to see if you can gain a few more ounces by doing that, then do that as well. Right. And ladies and gentlemen, remember that if you've been stacking for the last 20, 30 years, however it is, remember to take a little bit of profits and go do something that's fun or get something that you've always wanted. All right. Because it's not just about having it. It's also about using some of it while you're still here. But that's just my opinion. Oh, no, they've already started raising. Jane asked, Rudy, will online sellers for metal not raise till Tuesday? They already started raising. If you go to their sites, they've already started raising their prices along with the market. So yeah, they're still up there. Oh, Stormy Kurtz, you're dating yourself right here. Stormy says, I remember when I said that I would stop at $5 silver, not paying over that, and I was wrong. Hopefully you got a little bit more. Okay, all right, where are we at? Evita Cooks is in the house. Yeah, I fooled you today, Evita. I fooled you a little bit today. What time is it? Okay. It's about, we've been on for almost 40 minutes. Where's JR? Where's my buddy JR? JR, ¿cómo está? How are you doing? Oh, that's a great question. When did we start using paper money? Do you mean the first time that paper money, or let's say fiat currency? Because there was a time where wood was considered money. Now, if you want to fact check me on this, go ahead. But if I remember correctly, because I looked this up a while back, if I remember correctly, it was in the year 1060. All right, in the year 1060 AD, that fiat currency was first used, and it was by China. I do believe it was China. But go ahead and fact check me on that. And if it's something different, put it on in all caps. That way we can look it over, because that'd be interesting to know if I remember that right. Oh yeah, I mean, if you replace the and that's just the M2, all right, of the US. And I believe that in the US, cumulatively speaking, we have about 1.5 billion ounces of silver in the US, which is, I think, the most of any other country. Not 1.5 billion ounces held by the government, right? But I mean, collectively, all together, all of the mines, all of the people that have it, that stack it, that have it under their bed, whatever, all of the people that have it in vaults, everything is, I believe, around 1.5 billion. So let me see. Woody says that if we took that 1.5 billion ounces and divided it into the M2 money supply, man, I didn't know that the M2 money supply was already up to $28 trillion. That is crazy. It would be $14,000, almost $15,000 per silver ounce. And that one dime, right? Yeah, one dime would be a little over $1,000 in fiat currency. Isn't that crazy? But in all honesty, ladies and gentlemen, if we ever see silver at that price, man, a lot of people are going to be suffering. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be suffering, because what that would say about the current situation is that hyperinflation has taken over. And whenever inflation takes over at a very high level, it doesn't even have to be hyperinflation, but at a very high level, a lot of people suffer, because most people in the US are middle class and working poor. And who suffers when inflation tears up? It's the working person, the person that has to go and work a job in order to be able to pay for their living. All right, because the working person, the middle class, the working poor, they don't hold assets like the people that are rich, considered rich, right? Let's say the 10%, right? They don't really hold the assets. And the things that increase in nominal value when inflation takes hold are assets, right? So gold and silver are assets, right? They should be categorized as money via the law, all right, or via our government, because the law of the land does categorize gold and silver as money. But lawful and legal are two different terms, and they mean two totally separate things. But they're not. That's how it is now. Oh, you see, dollar cost average. You know what? No, I've put a halt to dollar cost averaging in. I put a halt in probably about 10 months ago, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully I'll be able to start here soon, but I got to get back up on my feet, right, and be able to get the things taken care of that I have to take care of. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Busy. Dollar cost average. Hopefully I won't forget that next time. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Annie says, Bank of England announced aliens are coming and for banks to prepare for a run on the banks. Not joking. Really? So you're saying that the Bank of England, is this recent? They announced that we are being invaded by aliens from like another world? All right. Is it from like another world? And to prepare for a run on the banks. Oh my goodness. That tells me, if this is accurate, if this is valid information, now that confirms to me that we are getting towards the end, if not very close to the end of this monetary system. And the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, is that a lot of people would fall for that. A lot of people would fall for that. Where are we at here? Amazing. Yes, constitutional silver is 90% silver and sterling silver is 9.25. 9.25 or 925 or 92.5, however you want to say it. I usually just say 925. Okay, I'm still coming in loud and clear. All right. Let's see. So it's Lulu. Lulu, you want to say hi? Come here. Come here. Say hello. Say hello. How you doing? Say hello, everyone. Say hello. What do I feed you, Lulu? What do I feed you, Lulu? Huh? Let's see. So yeah, I have been hearing that. So I did a little bit of research, and I forget the name. I think it's called Hillside Science Diet or something like that. I did some research on it, and it is very clean food. It's really clean, and it actually smells really good. Whenever I go to scoop out her food, it actually smells pretty good. And I usually give it to her with a raw egg, or I give her some kind of a fat, maybe from my grease drippings from my steak or something like that. But she really likes it, and it looks like it's very high quality. And it's a little bit pricey. It's not terrible. I get it from Amazon, and for a 45-pound bag, it's like $90. But for her, she probably goes through that bag in like 2 months, which is just right, because 2 months into it, it's still fresh enough that she's going to eat it and enjoy it. And, and it's not going to spoil, right? Because I only have her. So, and Lulu, I bet you that if that food did spoil, she'd still eat it with no problem. That dog eats anything. It's actually past her dinner time. So she's gnawing on a bone over there. Oh, here she is. She heard me talking about her. Okay, so let me see. Who is this? Half and half. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you guys. You guys show up for the live stream. If nobody showed up, Dante, then I wouldn't do it. If I was just here talking to myself. So no, thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate every one of you. Hey, there is A9. A9 is not in all caps, but I thought I'd say hello. Everybody say hello to Scott. All right, Scott's one of our moderators here. So thank you very much, Scott, for being here. You don't have to be sorry for being late, brother. I thank you for being here. Let's see. Forrest is in the house. When I was a kid, I would buy candy with silver coins. Isn't that something, Forrest? That was back when you could actually buy candy for pennies, right? For pennies and nickels. And now there's no way. You all remember the little Swedish redfish that you used to be able to just take out of the jar with your nasty little hands for 1 penny a piece? JR is in the house. I'm not going to call you by your YouTube name, JR, okay? But I will call you JR. What's up, brother? Good to talk to you, man. Good to see you. Let's see. Are silver bars hard to barter? I have no idea. I've never really bartered. Well, actually, I have a long time ago. I remember one day when I was living in my old house, I had a friend of mine come over and do some snow removal. And I asked him if he wanted me to pay him in silver. And I did. And I gave him a silver bar. So I guess, it depends. It depends on where you are. It depends on how educated the community around you is on whether it's hard to barter or not. However, it is money. And worst case scenario, you'd be able to find someone to be able to trade it with for fiat currency of that time so that you can go and spend it right away before it inflates away. So I don't think that when things get really bad as far as the monetary system go, I don't think that people that have silver will have a problem, at the minimum, exchanging it for the fiat currency of the time, right? Or finding someone to trade it with. I don't think anyone will have a problem, because when money as we know it now, right? When money as most people know it, which is fiat currency, fails, people find out pretty quick what real money is, right? Because they find out from necessity. Right now, they're still making fiat. They're still getting their paychecks if they're blessed enough to still have a job, and they're still able to spend it pretty much anywhere they want, right? But when that fails, they will find out very quickly what real money is. Absolutely. People have to stop thinking in terms of dollars. But the thing is you can't blame people for not. You can't blame people for still thinking that way, because that's what we've been taught all our lives. That's why I said that a lot of the information that you get from here, YouTube, social media, right here, they'll never teach in schools. They are never going to teach your children that gold and silver is real money, even though it says it in the Constitution. They will never teach them that, because they want your children to learn how to do a job, to go do that job, and to shut their fat mouths, right? And do what they're told. That's what they want them to do. And remember, what is your labor? Your labor is your property, and that's what they take from you. So if children in school understood that by working for a piece of paper, that piece of paper was designed to take from them the labor that they put forth to earn that, do you really think that we would have the same system now that we have? Absolutely not. If children understood what real money is, if they were taught what real money is and how it is that their wealth is stolen from them through the power of inflation, we would have a different system now. But they don't teach that in school. And unfortunately, maybe not too many parents are teaching that to their children. Okay. So, and that's just the way it is, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the fourth turning. We are in the winter time of the fourth turning. It is the turning of crisis. It is a cycle, right? It is a cycle of human nature. We are now in the last 20 years or so, 20 to 25 years of the fourth turning. And we are almost towards the end of this fourth turning. The next turning is spring, which is going to bring good things. But the next 5 to 7 years are going to be years of crises, and the crises are going to increase in nature more and more so until we go into spring. And that is what you prepare for. You don't prepare for the end of the world. You prepare so that you can make it to the other side of whatever crisis it is. Take the 2020 great toilet paper crisis, right? Take the 2020 toilet paper crisis, right? I prepared for that. I prepared for that well before the toilet paper crisis occurred in the United States of America and most other countries where people were smacking themselves over the head with rolls of toilet paper, right? I prepared for that. So what did I do? I sat home and I watched people smack themselves over the head with toilet paper. Why? Because I prepared for that crisis and I got through that crisis. I didn't have to go out there and fight for the TP. I already had it. And that's what preparing is for, is to make it through a crisis. So now the big thing that everyone is talking about is gold and silver, especially silver. Why? Because people have been preparing for this for a long time. And now you have people telling you, hey, it's not too late for you to prepare for it. You still have time. There's still a long way to go. So if you don't take this opportunity, I would say between now and the time, between now and the time that silver gets up to about $200 to $250 an ounce, because I think silver will hit as high as anywhere between $450 to $700 an ounce. I believe that wholeheartedly. All right. So if you don't take the time to prepare now, then it's going to be extremely difficult for you to make it through that next crisis that they're going to throw at us, which in my opinion is going to be a huge financial crisis. It may not start out as a financial crisis, but they will use whatever crisis they bring up. They will use that in order to put us into a new monetary system. They will use whatever it is. It could be aliens invading from outer space. They will use that in order to push us into whatever next financial system they've got set up for us, because they're out of runway. There is no more room in the runway, ladies and gentlemen. No more room. And they know that if they allow that runway to keep getting shorter and shorter, that the plane is not going to make it, that it's going to crash. Oh, by the way, I just saw that Forrest mentioned something about human-grade dog food. I saw this on a video, and it was a very short video. I think it might have been a short, but they actually have a dog food making machine that comes with like a recipe, and you add the stuff into it, and it cooks it and cools it and separates it for you. So I might look into that. That may be a good prep to have. Because the things that I was seeing them put in there were things that are good for you, but things that you can store for a long time, with the exception of like ground beef. But you can even store that. You can store protein for long term. It just has to be freeze dried. But yeah, I've seen that. Hey, that's great. Good time to stack. Stack that TP. Let's see. Question here. Does anyone know how long you can have filtered bacon drippings in a glass jar for? In my opinion, pretty much forever, as long as you keep that thing sealed. Use it whenever you take lard out of that jar. Make sure that you use a spoon that is sanitary. So don't be licking the spoon and putting it in the jar and taking it. Use a sanitary spoon, all right, to take whatever you're going to take out of the jar, and then seal the jar, and that's going to last a very long time, as long as it's pure fat. If you don't have like mixed water, because the water in it, if there's water inside of it, that's going to hold bacteria. It's the same thing like with ghee. When you make ghee, what you're doing is you're extracting the solids and the water out of the butter. So all you're left with is just the milk fat, the fat from the milk or the cream. That's all you're left with. So if there's nothing else in there that's going to contaminate that, then there's not going to be no bacteria growth, because bacteria needs oxygen. So I would say that would last a long time on the shelf. However, just put it in your cooler, put it in your freezer, or not even your freezer, your refrigerator. It'll last even longer there. Oh, did he really? I'm going to have to go and check it out, about the Bank of England saying that aliens were invading. Man, that's going to be so entertaining for me. I'm going to watch that as soon as I'm done with our live stream here. And after I eat my steak, ladies and gentlemen, I can smell it. I got a steak over there. It's going to be very tasty. Let's see. Man, that's a tough question. Someone asked, should I sell gold for silver? It depends on your situation. The thing is everyone's situation is so different. It really is. Okay, so how far behind am I? I'm about 15 minutes behind right now. I'm going to try to make it down. So I'm just going to keep going until I see someone ask a question in all caps. Yeah, Benny Johnson. Okay, man, that's going to be entertaining. If I didn't get a copyright, I'd watch it with you all here. There's JR. She won't let me change my handle, says JR. Well, I'm not calling you that, all right? I'm not calling you by your YouTube handle, all right? Swedish fish is your addiction, huh, JR? Oh, I love the Swedish fish. Love them, but I can't eat them, so I won't talk about them anymore. Vester 661, you're not late, you're just in time, Vester. Thank you for joining in. Yeah, well, when I was talking about the SHTF for someone is like on a personal basis, right? So yeah, this is actually a very good comment by Warrior. When the SHTF is for real, tamales, yes, tamales will be, along with other food items, will be worth more than gold and silver. Absolutely, right? Again, gold and silver, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I use gold and silver for savings, right? For savings, for emergencies, it's like a little emergency fund, because gold and silver, very, very liquid. Anywhere in the world, any country in the world that you go to, you can take real gold or real silver and exchange it somewhere for their currency, for the currency of that country. Gold and silver are very liquid, so they're a good vehicle to put your savings in my opinion, of course, right? But for a real SHTF, no, you better hope that you have your preps for a real SHTF, right? But how many times does a real SHTF happen? Like, for example, do you all consider what happened in Venezuela a real SHTF when they went into hyperinflation back in 2012, 2014, something like that? They literally went into hyperinflation. That was a real SHTF, but those people that had gold and silver, they were able to eat. Same thing with Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe was the same thing. I believe it was back in 2008, 2007, something like that in Zimbabwe. They had a real hyperinflation. So would you consider that a real SHTF? Most people would. But do you know who would consider that a real SHTF? The people that didn't have gold and silver. Back in Weimar Republic, Germany, back in, what was it, 1928 or something like that? 1926, somewhere in that time frame, right? They had super hyperinflation. Was that a real SHTF? Absolutely, for people that didn't have gold or silver. But some people that did have gold were able to buy hotels, right? With an ounce of gold, they were able to eat. So when you talk about a real SHTF, absolutely, you want your preps. You want to be able to eat like you eat today. You want to be able to have water, clean water, right? Water filtration, something that's going to power the essentials that you need power in your home, etc. Right? So I agree with you, Warrior, that for a real SHTF, you want your preps. But having gold and silver is going to allow you, and SHTF is not going to last forever, right? Again, a crisis has a name because it doesn't last forever. Okay, that's why the name crisis is in the dictionary, because it doesn't last forever. It's got a beginning and it's got an end, right? So your gold and silver is so that when the crisis that they bring upon us, that will enable them to change the monetary system without people realizing what's going on, because most Americans and most people around the world are not educated in what real money is, that you can start over with something instead of begging government for anything. That's what it's for. In my opinion, everyone's got a different opinion. What's the Troy ounce going for today? I have my 32 roll pack stacked. Okay, let's see. Let's take a look and see what silver is at right now. We haven't looked at it in a little bit. Let's see. Bring it in. Let's see. Curious. Right now, silver is trading at $93.62, ladies and gentlemen. And it did hit an all-time high. It hit an all-time high earlier today of roughly $94, and I think it was 11 cents. $94.08. Let's call it $94.10. So we did hit an all-time high in silver today. Right now, it is currently trading at $93.64. It closed last week at over 90, which was a huge deal as far as I'm concerned. If you look at silver let's take a look at silver on the monthly. All right, let's take a look at it on the monthly. That way you see how crazy this really is. Here's the month. Look at the monthly, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me that this is not a trend. This is definitely trending up. And this thing has so much farther to go. Okay, so much farther. Here's how far it's got to go before we are done with this bull market. Here, I'm going to show you. You're not even going to be able to see the line. This is how much farther it's got to go, right up to here. Okay, right up to where you see this line right here. Somewhere in that area where you see the little cross, that's how much farther it's got to go. And that's showing roughly $700. I know some people are going to call me crazy, but that's okay. Now understand that when it does reach that dollar amount, things are going to be a lot more expensive. All right, things will be a lot more expensive, but at least you would not have lost your purchasing power. You will still have it, and you'll be able to spend it, be able to get the things that you need. Let's take a look at gold. Where's gold at? Let's see. Gold. Look at that. Gold is still ticking upward. Gold today did reach another all-time high for those of you that weren't here earlier. And it hit 46.91. It looks like 46.91. And for those of you that may be just joining in, I stated earlier, let's take a look at the ratio. Look at the ratio. The ratio is still ticking down. It's down to 49.87 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. So for those of you that weren't here earlier, I was mentioning that we need to get mentally prepared for when silver corrects, because nothing goes straight up, okay? There is going to be a correction eventually. I have no idea when, okay? I have an idea of when it's going to correct, but I don't really want to say, because I don't want people to panic. But we are going to have a correction. But when we have that correction, since we have such a shortage of physical silver, if we have any kind of meaningful correction, like 20, 30, maybe even 40%, people are going to be going out there in a frenzy to buy physical. So I'm guessing that if we do have a pretty big correction, it's not going to last very long. We're going to end up finding a new floor, and I believe it's going to take years for us to find a new floor, because we have so much more upward momentum to achieve before we find that new floor. So we'll eventually find a new floor. Once we find that new floor in the hundreds of dollars, it's going to correct, and we're going to start a new cycle, meaning that it's going to start forming another cup and handle, just like it did the last 40-something years. All right, but there's going to be, you're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to have your ups and downs throughout all of that. So you just have to be mentally prepared to see it through, right? Let's see. I started stacking 10 years ago. I was buying $20 Canadian. Now silver is $125 an ounce Canadian. Amazing. Congratulations there, son. That's awesome. Good story. And we are staying pretty steady at $93+ an ounce on silver. However, it's going to be very interesting, ladies and gentlemen, to see what the market does tomorrow morning. I think that the market here in the West is only trading for like a half a day tomorrow. Because is tomorrow Martin Luther King? Yeah, it's Martin Luther King, isn't it, tomorrow? If I'm correct, I don't really keep up with holidays. The only real holidays that I keep up with are really Thanksgiving and Christmas. And, Veterans Day and Memorial Day. I really don't look for them, but, you hear it all over the place. But I don't really keep up with holidays too much. So I think tomorrow is Martin Luther King Day. Absolutely, freedom seeds. Anything that has tangible value, ladies and gentlemen, can be used as money. All right. Anything that has tangible value, that has a value associated with it, that is useful. All right. Whether because it's calories, whether because it's freedom seeds, all right, for your boomsticks, whether it's nails or screws or a skill. All right. Right now, a skill is money right now, because if you have a skill and you can perform that skill for someone that needs it and would exchange some value for it, to you, that skill is money, because it's how you make money. So yeah, anything that's tangible that has a use case is money. However, the difference between a skill that you can use as money, because you can use it to earn an income, right? You can trade for money to earn an income. The difference between that and having gold and silver as a way to exchange value is that if I were a carpenter and I needed eggs, how am I going to exchange my carpenter skills for a dozen eggs? Because if somebody wanted me to build them a shed, and what am I going to do? Take 2,000 eggs to build a shed? I don't need 2,000 eggs. Where am I going to put all those eggs? But if we exchange value for our skills in a currency / money, right, that has value to everyone, then we can exchange value for value using that currency / money, gold and silver. Okay, so I hope I explained that in a way that you would that didn't confuse you. Let's see. Let me take a quick look at this here to see if there's anything crazy going on. Oh my goodness, we are inching up to that. Oh my goodness, we are inching up to that $94, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, we are at 9. Okay, let me go ahead and open this up. Maybe we can see this together, because we are inching up to that $94. Right now, with $94.01, $94.05, 6, $94.01 again, $94.03. So yeah, we're getting up there. So we're pretty steady at the $94 mark, $94.10. Let's see how gold is doing. Gold, $46.75 roughly. So it's kind of exciting in a way, to keep track of that kind of stuff. But again, in a way, it's not, because what gold and silver is telling us right now, by going up in price the way that it's been going, is that we are going to be getting hit with another wave of inflation that's going to be worse than the last one that we experienced here the last few years. So prepare yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that you have your food. Make sure that you have your preps. I couldn't express to you more how much more important it is for you to be able to sustain your standard of living. So, you know, if let's say, for example, because you have to keep your sanity, right? Let's say, for example, that you use paper towels to clean up messes or whatever. I know, and I'm using a very elementary example. But some people would say, hey, don't use paper towels, just use little cloths, wipe it up and then put it in the washer and wash it. You know, that'll save you money. Absolutely. But let's say that you just like using paper towels. Okay, use paper towels. There's nothing wrong with that. But by you being able to prepare to sustain your standard of living, I would tell you, yeah, go ahead and put away a few packs of paper towels. Because that way, if there is a crisis that occurs, the closer that you can keep your standard of living to normal times, the less stress that it puts on you and your family, right? And then it gives you more time, less stress to be able to deal with whatever crisis it is that we may be going through, you know, as a community, as a region, as a country, as a world, whatever it may be. So sustaining your standard of living is being able to put away stuff that you're going to use, that you use every single day. That way, when something happens that's out of your control and you can't get those things that you normally get on a regular basis, that you already have a couple of months put away of it and you don't have to worry about it. Just keep living your lives and then deal with the crisis at hand with all of your energy instead of trying to spend energy on substituting stuff for things that you were used to using on a daily basis. I hope that makes sense. I know a lot of times I throw out a word salad to you all, ladies and gentlemen, but I hope that makes sense. Let's see. Evita Cooks, important message. Walmart.com currently has Keystone Pork, the 28-ounce can for $8.82. That's actually a pretty good deal because 28 ounces is what? It's almost 2 pounds. It's 1 3/4 pounds. So you're getting 1 3/4 pounds of canned meat that's going to last a very long time, years and years and years, for a pretty good price per pound. Let me see. Do you think dealers will keep premium prices high if the price of silver goes down significantly? It all has to do with supply and demand. So the premium price is what gives that silver mobility, right? Excuse me. So it all has to do with supply and demand, right? So it may be different for different places. Okay, it may be different for different bullion dealers, just depending on how much demand they have for the supply that they have there. Okay, bringing it down some. Does anybody know how much $half-dollar silver coins are going for? I have a few and my daughter has a lot. I've been giving them to her for years. Let's see, $half-dollars are probably going for about $35 right now. You want me to look it up? Let me look it up. Let me look it up right here. Coin melt value. Coin melt value. Let's see. Let's go ahead and do the $half-dollar, you said? Silver dollar, $half-dollar. Let's go with 1. Yep, $33.81. So for a $half-dollar, $33.81. Let's go ahead and put it up there so you can see it. Boom. There it is right there, right? So that's a $half-dollar, $33.81, which means that a dollar face value of constitutional silver or junk silver is going for $67 and roughly 64 cents. $67.64 roughly for $1. So for 4 quarters or for 2 half-dollars that are constitutional, you're looking at about $67. That's crazy. That is crazy, ladies and gentlemen. I remember complaining to Jerry at Alaska Rare Coins when I was paying $13 for $1 face value. I'm like, $13 for $1? That's crazy, right? And now it's 67, 68 bucks for $1 face value. Craziness. Yeah, that's correct. Woody Dell says that $1.40 of constitutional or junk silver is the equivalence of 1 troy ounce of silver, roughly, right? So if you have 14 dimes, that's equal to roughly 1 troy ounce of silver. Or you can mix it up. If you have 2 quarters and 9 dimes, right? Or 2 half dollars and 4 dimes, as long as it's $1.40 combination altogether, it's roughly 1 troy ounce. Yes, I'm sorry to hear that. I heard that. Grayman Prepping gave me a call and told me about John. And you know me, ladies and gentlemen, I like to keep a little bit cheery and stuff like that. And but it's a heck of a shame. So for those of you that don't know John over from Prepper Nation, he was a good friend of the channel. Really a good friend of the channel. A really good guy. Right? And he ended up getting cancer. And he passed away. If I remember correctly, the date, I believe it was either December 12th or December 16th of last year of 2025. So, yeah. So may he rest in peace. Man. Hey, that's why I say don't ever be afraid to cash in some of your precious metals. If there's something you want, go get it, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Because life is short. It's not about things, right? It's not about things. You know, it's about your experiences. It's about how you treat others. You know, it's about how you live your life. If you can look at yourself in the mirror, then you'll be fine, right? You're going to be all right. All right, bringing it down. Let's see. Mary says, but that isn't 999 silver. The coin form is only 90% silver, right? Yeah, that's right. Constitutional silver or junk silver is 90% silver, and that's why it takes $1.40 face value for it to equal 1 troy ounce of silver, right? But it is 90% silver. However, it still has the silver in it, which is a monetary metal. Yes, may John rest in peace. Absolutely. Excuse me for a second. Hey, Scott gifted 1 membership. Thank you, Scott. Thank you very much for your support, brother. All right, well, guess what? Let's see. Sleeping Bear. Sleeping Bear. Sleeping Bear says, shorts are calling. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? A steak is calling me and Lulu. So it is time. We've been on for 1 hour and 18 minutes. Hey, I'll tell you what, time flies. At least it has flown by for me. Okay, because I always have a great time chit-chatting with you all and spending some time with you. All right, so thank you very much for being here. Remember, in case you were not here earlier, go and check out the video that I put out this morning because it's a giveaway video. Another thing is OUPES has a pretty big sale going on right now. So if you guys want to go check out OUPES, if you're in the market for a solar generator, go check them out. They're my only solar generator affiliate that I deal with because I think they have a great product at a working man's price. All right. And it's a good product. So go check them out. Make sure that you check my links in the bottom of the description of my videos. That's the way that you can support me. Never ask for money, but if you buy something from Amazon, use my link. It won't cost you a penny more. Right? And Jeff Bezos just hates it when he has to send me those 2 or 3 pennies out of his pocket. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in today. Tomorrow, I will have a video out. All right. I will have a video out tomorrow. So hope to see you there. And remember to go ahead and give it a like. Make sure that you comment. And that really does help the algorithm. Although, I don't know, I've been under attack by the YouTube algorithm lately, but we'll get through this storm like we've gone through many others. All right. So again, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope that you have enjoyed your weekend so far. God bless every one of you. All right. I love you all. God bless America. This is the part where I say I'm Alaska Prepper And I am out. God bless.